Hey gang, Evan Sutton here. Today I'm here to talk about Reaktor. I wanted to do a little bit of a demo to help people out there get started using it. It's one of the more confusing instruments that comes with Komplete to get started with, and there are a lot of great instruments in the library, and there's a lot that can be done with modifying and building your own instruments. So we're going to look at some things in our basic environment around here, look at some settings that we can take care of to make our lives a little bit easier, and then we're also going to look at a couple of different instruments, a synthesizer called Junitic, and a couple of effects. And so I hope you enjoy. So first of all, I have Reaktor open in standalone mode, and that means that I see the Reaktor 5 logo up here. And all of this will apply if you have Reaktor open in a DAW, except for some of the sequence stuff. Reaktor will play by itself inside the DAW when you have the playhead moving, but if you're in standalone mode, you can use this play and this stop button in order to get things moving, and then you have a tempo here. Now let's just start out by checking on the audio and MIDI settings here. They're under File, or you can also find them here under File. That's one of the fun things. The settings are under File, not under Settings, so that's interesting. Check your device. I have a duet going. This is going to populate with all your audio devices, and then your MIDI guys over here. Typically, you're going to have to turn them on. I've just noticed that when I open Reaktor, a lot of the time it has them turned off. I'm going to be using my machine controller, and I always just give my MIDI a little check right up here. If I hit a button or two, turn a knob, you're going to see some movement. This is the MIDI in bar. Now, up on the top right, we also have this on-off button. Now, what this button is going to do is it's going to run audio. Okay, I have this little tooltip type thing that came up here, and what I actually do when I'm building a synthesizer is I usually leave it off, and then when I'm ready to actually hear the audio, I pull the volume down on my speakers out here, and then I turn this thing on and I slowly bring it up. That's one of the things that can happen a lot when you're creating your own instruments, is that sometimes you get some really big volumes that you weren't expecting, and it's a good thing to just protect yourself a little bit. Now, the other thing in terms of settings that I wanted to get together before we start is in Preferences, and we have our directories here, and this is sort of like with Contact, for example, where you're telling the synthesizer where exactly all of the presets are on your machine. So here I have the factory content. This is my user content here. This is where if I save macros, for example, things like that, that's where Reaktor will save them as well as look for them. Then we have audio files and imported files, and then table files. For example, a table file could be for a sequencer. You can save a table file for that, and it's going to save some values for you. And then you can set an external sample editor if you would like. Other than that, we have maximum CPU usage, and then just some simple startup options. I have mine set to don't load anything on startup. Sometimes I'm a little impatient, so when I start Reaktor up, it can be really nice to just go ahead and not wait for it to load something if that's not what I want. I'm into that. So let's say close. Oh, actually, the other thing to mention here is that in standalone mode in Reaktor, you do have undos. Now, in Ableton Live, there are undos, but not for VST plugins. It doesn't work the same way as the Ableton Live instruments. So I like to program in standalone mode when I'm building something. That can be really nice. Because I can actually use the undo, and it'll save a certain amount of undos for you. Might as well just turn it up. All right, so I'm going to close that out, and now we're in this untitled ensemble. That's what it's opened up. I have my factory content over here on the left. If you go to the spyglass and then to the factory bar tab over here, whatever you want to call it, it's going to show your factory content, and that's divided into a few folders. Now let's have a word about hierarchy here. One of the things that confused me a little bit about Reaktor when I first started is the difference between ensembles and instruments. Now, ensembles hold instruments. Instruments are actually the synthesizers that we bring in, but an instrument can also be an effect. So if I have like a delay box that I bring in here, in addition to one of my synthesizers, that would be an ensemble, and each of the individual parts would be an instrument. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Macros are even smaller than instruments. They're groups of objects that have been put together that you can use to build instruments. But for now, we're going to look at some of the instruments. The first one that I'd like to look at is, it's called Junitic. And I'm going to go to Instruments and under Synthesizers. And you'll see it right here. So if you click on a folder and there is something in it other than other folders, then it's going to show those in here. And I'm just going to take Junitic and I'm going to drag it in here. Now, Reaktor is now giving me this funny little message. And converting imported instruments in port G, not possible. So don't worry about what this means for now, because this is, well, we're going to know what it means, but this is a little bit jibber jabber. This is Reaktor getting a little bit confused. So I've opened up Junitic and I can see that there's something going on, but I don't see anything right now. Well, I have to click on A in order to see the front panel of the instrument. If I play a couple notes, then I can see that we have some controls. These buttons up here, A and B, will let you see the different panels, they call them, in Reaktor. And that's sort of the performance interface. Like in Contact, we have the performance controls. That's sort of what we have here. And we can have two sets of them. Junitic only has one set, so B is not doing anything. If you want to fold it up, we can go ahead and click there. All right. Now, Junitic's a pretty simple subtractive synthesizer. We can go ahead and we can control the cutoff of this filter here. We can turn up the resonance if we want. We have a nice little visual aid here. And then we can set how much the modulation envelope over here is going to affect the cutoff. Now, there's one important thing that I usually have going when I'm looking at the stuff in the Reaktor library, and that's this eye up here. And they call these info hints. Basically, clicking on this eye and having it engaged or white is going to make it so that when you mouse over certain things, if the creator of the instrument has added them, you'll be able to see these little info hints. And these can be really handy because with the Reaktor library, there isn't a whole lot of documentation always, and some of them are a little bit confusing to use. So it can be really nice to have these little info hints. Like for example, it says VCA here, and it says this is the amplifier, and we just have attack and release, and oh, so this is the envelope, and now we can shape it here. But this button just says envelope, and okay, well, we can use envelope or gate. We have the level here. Junitic is a little bit more intuitive than some of the other ones, but like I said, this can be very, very handy as things get more popular. Now, if we go over to this camera area here, we can see what are called snapshots. You can see that info hint comes up. This is not a washing machine, it's a camera. Snapshot is the word in Reaktor for preset. So as I click on these snapshots, it's going to bring up different sounds. So we can get some nice little sounds in there. If I decide that I really like this snapshot that I've created, I can click append. Oh, there are no free snapshots in the current bank. You can only have 128 snapshots per bank. So if I create a new bank, then now I'm going to call this one wub clav. Okay. So this one now exists over here. Handy. I like it. It's a very interesting one. All right. So now that we've got Junitic together over here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back into the factory library, and actually I'm going to close the instruments folder. I'm actually going to open up Ensembles. Now if we look into classics, we just go into synthesizers, we're going to see that Junitic also is in there. And this is where the subject of that error message comes up again. I'm going to double click on here, and by opening up a new ensemble, this is a .ens file, and you can only run one ensemble at a time. By opening up a new ensemble, it's going to ask me if I want to change or save my changes to this old one. I'm going to say no, and notice that I didn't get that error message this time. That's because I opened up Junitic as an ensemble. It likes to be opened as an ensemble, and here's why. We have a stereo delay in here that's usually paired with it. Some nice little visual feedback here. can turn up the wet a little bit. Like I said, ensembles hold instruments. So when we opened up Junitic as an instrument, we got this little error message, and it took me a little while to figure this out, but avoiding that error message means going to the ensembles and finding the entire Junitic ensemble. So Junitic has this stereo delay unit, and it's a good thing to do to see if you can open up the factory library as ensembles and not just instruments, just in case there's something you're missing. Now, a cool thing about the snapshots over here is that I've clicked on Junitic here. I can actually change snapshots in these drop-down menus here. But notice I actually have 3 panels in which I can change the snapshots. That's because there is the master, the snapshot master, but this is for the ensemble. This is the snapshot master. Then we have the Junitic instrument and the stereo delay instrument. Remember, I said effects can also be instruments. If we go to the Properties tab, and that's what this checkbox is, and we look at Function, we can go ahead and click on any of these instruments, and we can see that Junitic, the ensemble up here, is the snapshot master. If we click on these other two, it's going to say recall by parent. What that means is that if I change a snapshot up here in the master, it's going to bring up relevant snapshots in both of the instruments included in the ensemble. But if I go ahead and change a snapshot here, it doesn't change what's going on with the other instrument or the ensemble. So the snapshots for the entire ensemble include snapshots or snapshot information for the instruments within the ensemble, but it doesn't go the other way around. And you basically just set that by using recall by parent and snapshot master down here. And remember, this is the Properties tab, and this is where you're going to find, under Function, you're going to find a lot of handy settings like that. Yeah, so now let's say I'm going to go back over to the library here, and I'm going to close this up, close the ensembles up, and I'm going to go to instruments because I'd like to grab an effect. Okay, I love this stereo delay, but you know, maybe it's just a good time of day for me to get rid of it, and maybe I want to add something a little bit different. So I'm going to go to Effects here, and first of all, well, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and let's just grab a really simple, the analogic filter box. I like this one. I'm just going to click and drag it in. Notice it didn't ask me to create a new ensemble because this is an instrument, so more instruments can be added to the ensemble. Now when I hit a note, the thing you may be noticing is that the analogic filter box is not actually getting audio fed to it. That's because we just dragged this thing in here. It's just sitting there. It's not actually wired into anything. Now we're going to take a look under the hood here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this button. This button is going to let me turn on the structure view. It kind of looks like a Y-wing if you're a Star Wars fan. I'm just going to turn this thing on. And now I can go between the panel, which is this front sort of performance view, and I can go into the structure. And you can see the analogic filter box here. There's Junitic, there's the stereo delay, and this is out 1 and 2. Those are the stereo outs. So now, and in Reaktor, we use these patch cables, and I can just click on one of them and I can hit delete, click on the other one, hit delete, and then I can click on these other two and delete them. Or if I want, I can just click on the instrument I want to get rid of and hit delete, and there we go, it's gone. Now, to patch in the analogic filter box, I just click on the port that I want it to go from, and then I drop the cable on the destination. So the left output on Junitic is going to the left input on analogic filter box. For all of these instruments and modules, when you're looking at them in the structure, signal will go from inputs will be on the left and outputs will be on the right. So I'm going from the right output of Junitic to the right input of analogic filter box, left output of analogic filter box to the left input of out, and then right output of analogic filter box into the input of out. And these are outputs, but these are inputs to the out modules, if you care to think of it that way. So now I can jump back by clicking here. The other cool thing I can do, just to show you this is how I like to work, is you can click on the horizontal split, and to go up a level I can just double click on the background and it's going to show me the panel. So now I can look at both of them, and now when I hit a note we should get some signal going through the analogic filter box. And I can bring up some of the presets here. We've got some really interesting stuff going. I'm going to make the mod envelope sustain here in Junitic so that the VCF can stay open. We get lots of sound. Pretty cool, huh? So that's a simple modification that we've made to this ensemble, and you can save it if you want. But it's a handy way to use Reaktor, and this is a very basic version of the kind of patching that you'll be doing if you're creating your own instruments in Reaktor, like we do in the sound design course here at Dubspot. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This is Evan Sutton signing off. I'll see you around.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself. Become a part of our community and make music.